Now, polls have just closed in Turkey's local elections. They're the first since the reform package gave President Recep Tayyip Erdogan sweeping new powers. Polls suggest his ruling AK party is set for major losses, however. His popularity has been hurt by the country's economic recession. Joining us now from Istanbul is DW's Dorian Jones. Dorian, can you help us understand a little better just how are these elections a test for President Erdogan?
Well, he's made it a referendum about his rule. In fact, he said the whole country's future is at stake in one of his last rallies here in Istanbul. And why he's attaching so much importance to these elections is because the control of the towns and cities across Turkey is one of the last areas of power that the president directly doesn't control. On top of that, the president is aware that his party's vice-like grip control of the capital, Ankara, and Istanbul is now facing a major challenge from the opposition. And the reason why is that the country is feeling incredible economic pain. Soaring food prices running at over 30% is fueling public anger on the streets. And the fear among Erdogan and his ruling party is that they could be punished by the voters, particularly in key cities like Istanbul and Ankara. And there is this old political adage in Turkey: he who controls Istanbul controls Turkey. And Erdogan is aware of that because that is where his rise to power started when he was elected mayor in '94. And that is why he's desperately determined to prevent his grip on control of these cities being ended.
Do we have any indications yet about the elections being free and fair?
Well, certainly in the last few elections, the opposition have created foul on many occasions of citing voter irregularities, although the ruling AKP does deny this. And again, there is concern about the fairness of the elections. There's a great lot of vigilance, a lot of observers watching very carefully. But it has to be said, up until now, there has not been any reports of major egregious actions suggesting that the polls were unfair. Although it has to be said, the key point is now where we're entering the counting of the votes. That is where is the most contentious period, and where there is a great deal of tension now about whether the votes will be fairly counted.
Speaking of tension, we've heard reports that 2 people were shot dead at a polling station in the eastern city of Malatya. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, that's right. It happened, an incident where observers from a fringe Islamic party, an opposing party to Erdogan, the Saadet Party, they got into a dispute over how some votes were being cast. That quickly deteriorated into violence, resulting in the deaths of 2 of the Saadet Party's observers being killed. There's been a great deal of reaction to this. The Turkish President Erdogan has said he's expressing a great deal of regret, as have all the other opposition parties. But it has to be said, such incidents are not unusual in Turkish elections, and up until now, it has been the only fatal incident that we have heard of.
Okay, DW's Dorian Jones in Istanbul. Thank you for that.